We were never able to see stars from the lunar surface or on the daylight side of the moon by eye without looking through the optics. I don't recall during the period of time that we were photographing the Sona Curlew what stars we could see.
I don't remember seeing any.
You don't see stars in the daytime on Earth, not because they're not there, but because the atmosphere is aglow with scattered light from the sun. If you take away the atmosphere, the sun will still be there, but the sky goes dark. That's what the folks get when they go to the edge of the atmosphere, and they're calling that the edge of space. But when you get to the edge of the atmosphere is no longer between you and the rest of the universe, and the stars reveal themselves just as they would at night. Since the moon has no atmosphere, then a daytime picture, if you're there in the daytime of the moon, you see a full night sky of stars, even with the sun in the sky as well.
Yeah, you know, actually on my very first mission, we went up and when you're in space and you're looking into deep space and you're on the sun side of the orbit, the sunlight washes out all the starlight, so you can't see any stars, just like here on Earth. But then when you look out into deep space away from the sun, it's the darkest black you can imagine, right? And so what happens is you really lose your depth perception. You can't tell if something's close by or far away. And so I was looking out the overhead window one day up in space, and I saw what I thought was a satellite way above us, because it just looks like a little dot, you know, like a star, and if it was above us, it should be falling behind. You know, in other words, the orbit, the speed, the radial speed is going to be slower, and so, but it was keeping up with us. So this is weird. This satellite up there is kind of keeping up with us. So I called my buddy up and I said, Don, take a look at that satellite up there. It looks like it's keeping up with us. And it took us about 30 seconds to realize we were looking at a speck of dust about 3 feet from the window that was being brightly lit by the sun, you know, but we couldn't tell. It looked like maybe it was a satellite, you know, 10,000 miles above us or something like that.
Whilst in space, have you ever looked away from Earth into the black void?
Yeah. So because you can see, because you can see the stars.
Oh yeah.
You know, and pretty much all the time you can see the stars.
Yeah. It's not a black void. I mean, it's black, but there's all kinds of little polka dots.
There's all the stars there, and the cool thing is about it, you can see it during the day.
Yeah, you can, and there's more than stars. You can see planets. You can see moons.
You see the gas. Magellan clouds of the
Milky
Way
you see
galaxy.
The Magellanic clouds.
Magellanic. See, I just wanted the Magellan clouds.
There's a large one
I didn't
and a small one, right?
Yeah.
And then you can see the zodiacal lights.
Whoa.
Those are amazing. Right before
the lights
sunrise.
of the zodiac.
The lights of the zodiac. The zodiacal lights. Okay.
What are the stars like in space? Like, are they just brighter than on Earth, or how would you describe it?
They're brighter, but they're different. And a lot of things different about it. One, you don't have the atmospheric distortion, so they don't twinkle, right? So you see lots of points, and you see lots of points, and that literally millions of them. You know, there's, you know, the thing about Carl Sagan, billions of stars. There really are billions and billions of stars, and you can see them. In fact, they're so numerous, it's very difficult to pick out the constellations you and I see here on the ground. And I live in Colorado, and you get up on a clear night in Colorado up in the mountains where there's no light, and you can see all these stars. Well, multiply that by 1,000. That's what it's like in space. And then when you're outside doing a spacewalk, and you have that one or two opportunities where you can let your eyes adjust, you can start to notice that some of the stars have colors we don't see here on the ground. So you see these pastel colors, light yellows, light pinks, light oranges, even light red ones, and light blue. There's all kinds of colors that you can see in these stars that you can't see here because it's filtered out by the atmosphere.
Mr. Armstrong, I do realize that when you were on the moon, you had very little time for gazing upwards. But could you tell us something about what the sky actually looks like from the moon, the sun, the earth, the stars, if any, and so on?
The sky is a deep black when viewed from the moon, as it is when viewed from cislunar space, the space between the Earth and the moon. The Earth is the only visible object other than the sun that can be seen, although there have been some reports of seeing planets. I myself did not see planets from the surface, but I suspect they might be visible.
I was just a systems engineer on a well-functioning spacecraft coming home. And so, sure, I had work to do, but not nearly as pressing as before. And we were oriented such that we were rotating to keep thermal balance on the spacecraft, and oriented in such a way that every 2 minutes the Earth, the Moon, the Sun, and a 360-degree panorama of the heavens appeared in the cabin window. And that was awesome. It was an overwhelming experience. And we have to realize that in space, without the intervening atmosphere, the heavens are 10 times as bright, stars 10 times as numerous, because there's no atmosphere to block the light.